Fortune's Progeny, The Ascent, Episode 15, The Audit of Everything. The soft, steady tap of rain against a window pane and the distant hum of city traffic filled the quiet of Trent's small room. The approval of the Highlands proposal had marked a shift in the protocol's tone. The challenges were now real assets, real decisions with real consequences. They were no longer abstract exercises or philosophical questions, and Trent was now the one to beat, no longer a dark horse contender. The distinctive chime of the encrypted vault notification broke the silence. The vault communication arrived on a Wednesday, its subject line stripped of any warmth.
Operational integration phase, full audit. The message was brief, but seismic. Contender Theta was informed that the board had initiated a comprehensive audit of his personal financial progress, capital stewardship, and strategic portfolio performance. This audit would serve as the primary basis for the final assessment. Transparency was required. Any discrepancy, however minor, would be considered a breach of protocol. 7 days were given to submit all requested documentation. Attached was a list of requirements so exhaustive it made Trent's head spin. Bank statements, investment account logs, debt tracker histories, copies of every Insight Challenge submission, personal budget breakdowns, even the stewardship binder, every entry, every note, every late-night reflection was to be scanned and submitted. A sharp knock at the door was followed by the creak of hinges. Silas stepped inside, his expression unreadable, and settled into the small chair by Trent's desk.
The board has winnowed the field to 3. Now they will scrutinize the details. They are looking for cracks, for inconsistencies, for evidence that your philosophy is a performance, not a conviction.
What happens if they find something?
Then you are removed, without appeal. The protocol does not forgive deception, Trent. It is the one unforgivable sin.
The next 7 days were a blur of documentation. Pages turned and the scanner clicked softly through the night as Trent worked late into every evening, scanning, organizing, cross-referencing. The shared house was a distant hum of background noise. His focus was absolute. He pulled every bank statement from the past year, every credit card bill, every payment confirmation. He reconstructed his budget month by month, tracing the evolution of his avalanche from $600 to $665 to the current $790. He documented every freelance payment, every sold possession, every sacrifice. The stewardship binder was the most difficult. It was not a financial document. It was a journal. Its pages contained his fears, his frustrations, his moments of doubt, and flickers of insight. Handing it over felt like undressing in public, but the directive was clear. Transparency was required. The decisive click of a mouse was followed by the soft whoosh of a file being uploaded. He scanned every page, uploaded the files, and hit send on the final day, 5 minutes before the deadline. Then he sat in his small room, the silence pressing in, and waited. Days later, the vault notification chimed again. The audit results came back. Trent opened the vault with his eyes half closed, bracing for the worst. The message was long, dense with analysis and footnotes. He read it twice before the full meaning settled. Personal financial discipline, verified. Debt reduction trajectory consistent with declared methodology. Emergency fund maintained and replenished after qualified vehicle repair. No undisclosed liabilities, no undisclosed income. Status, compliant. Capital stewardship, verified. Test sum invested in approved vehicles. No unauthorized trades. Stewardship log demonstrates consistent application of stated investment philosophy. Emotional responses documented. No panic selling or speculative behavior observed. Status, compliant. Strategic portfolio performance, verified. Greenwise proposal approved and implemented. Atelier proposal approved and implemented. Highlands proposal approved and under review. No discrepancies between submitted proposals and documented rationale. Status: compliant.
Overall assessment. Contender Theta has demonstrated consistent adherence to the principles and protocols of the Progeny Protocol. No material discrepancies or violations were identified. The candidate's record is clean. Trent exhaled, a long, slow breath he hadn't realized he was holding. He was still in the race. But there was a final paragraph, one that stopped him cold. The board noted that while Contender Theta's record was compliant, the remaining contenders had also passed audit. The final phase would be determined by performance under pressure, not compliance alone. He noted that the next challenge would test what he had built, and, more importantly, what he was willing to defend. It continued with a note to prepare accordingly. He read the paragraph 3 times, parsing its implications. The audit was a gate, not a finish line. He had passed through, but so had the others. The real test was still ahead. That evening, footsteps on pavement carried him to the local park. The distant sound of children playing and the golden light of the fading sun filled the space around him as ordinary people went about ordinary lives. He envied them for a moment, their simplicity, their ignorance of the hidden war he was fighting. His phone buzzed with a text message from Maya.
Dinner? I'm making that lentil soup you like. You can't say no to it.
Trent smiled, the tension easing slightly.
On my way.
Over soup at her apartment, the soft clink of dishes and the gentle stir of a spoon in a ceramic bowl filled the warm, cluttered space. The room was full of architectural models and half-read books, a sanctuary from the pressure of the protocol.
It sounds like you're being graded on a curve you can't see.
Exactly. I don't know what performance under pressure means until they apply it. And by then, it's too late to prepare.
In architecture school, we had a professor who did that. He'd give us a project with no specs, just a deadline. Half the class would panic. The other half would just start. They'd sketch something, anything, and then revise. He wasn't testing their final product. He was testing their ability to begin without knowing the end.
Trent sat with that. To begin without knowing the end. That was the protocol in a sentence. He had begun a year ago, with no certainty, only the faith that the system would hold. It had held, and he was still standing.
Thank you.
You're going to be fine. You're the one who actually cares about getting it right, not just winning.
That night, back in his room, the soft creak of a chair and the scratch of a pen on paper filled the silence. Trent opened the stewardship binder. The pages he had scanned for the audit were still loose, waiting to be rebound. He wrote a new entry, the pen moving slowly across the page.
Entry. The audit. Passed. But passing is not winning. The final challenge will test something deeper than compliance. It will test conviction. The other contenders have also passed. They are also disciplined, also smart, and also hungry. I am not the only dedicated one. The difference, I think, is in the heart of the steward. Alistair paid $12,000 because he cared, not because it was efficient. The final test will be about caring, even when efficiency demands otherwise.
The binder closed with a soft thud. He looked at the photograph of Alistair's workshop on his phone. The founder's eyes, fixed on his craft, seemed to hold a question. What are you willing to defend? Trent didn't have an answer, but he was beginning to understand the shape of the question. The rain intensified against the window, then slowly faded to silence.